Good morning, everyone, and welcome back into the Wake and Take. Today, we're continuing these tier lists, and we're going to talk about the wide receivers today heading into the 2023 season. Tons of wide receivers to talk about, so let's just go ahead and get right on into it. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and get my screen shared. Woo! Like I said, man, there's a ton of wide receivers to talk about in this list. If you're joining me on Instagram, head over to YouTube, the Player Profiler YouTube channel. You'll be able to see this thing in all its glory. So a couple things to preface this. There are a couple rookies missing. What I'm probably going to do is use like kind of the players they replaced. Like, for example, Josh Palmer's on this list, but Quentin Johnston isn't. I'll probably just say Josh Palmer is Quentin Johnston. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But yeah, and also, lesson learned from the running back tier list yesterday. We've got a few more tiers to kind of fill out. We'll see how this goes. I'm probably also going to skip some players because, there's a lot of players here. But Michael Thomas, to start things off, that's a tough one to place. So for now, not going to discuss too much. I'm not expecting a lot from Michael Thomas this year. I feel like if anything, he's going to play like 3 games, maybe a good 3 games, and then just kind of be done. So for now, I'm going to throw him in the D tier. It's going to be kind of hard establishing these tiers for now. I think we'll kind of, as we fill this out, get a little bit more confident in where we're placing players. Russell Gage, I feel like probably needs even less of a tier than Michael Thomas, to be honest, which is sad to say. DJ Chark, we could throw him for now in that C tier. I do think he'll probably get some work in Carolina. Every wide receiver in Carolina is probably going to get some work. I just think each one of them probably has some form of limited ceiling. But DJ Chark, I'll throw in that C tier for now. We'll see. He probably ends up getting moved down. DJ Moore, I feel like we've got to throw in the B tier. He's going to be the wide receiver 1 now for the Bears. Great profile, as we already know. And my man, Matty Kiwoom, I would be remiss if I didn't mention how high he is on DJ Moore going into next year. So in his honor, I'm going to throw him into the B tier, and we'll see what happens with him. Don't think he deserves to be in the A or the S tier, but he'll probably end up kind of filling in the back of the B tier as this list gets filled out. Gabe Davis, probably that C tier. He had his opportunity. And he's still going to have big games. No doubt about it. Dude is still going to go out there and have a couple 2-touchdown games for some reason, but not much in between. And that's fine, right? That's fine. There's a place for that, but that doesn't put him in a good tier. We're going to have to C tier that guy. Nico Collins. Okay, I feel like that's kind of how the C tier is shaping up. Nico Collins, again, we've talked about him a little bit. He's probably going to start the year, be the alpha for the Texans receiving room, the number 1 guy. And, that just presents opportunity in general. And, he has a great profile. He just has struggled to stay healthy and hasn't quite hit the ceiling. But, with the quarterback upgrade and CJ Stroud, things might start to change. And I hope they start to change because I do want Nico Collins to be good. Michigan man and all that fun stuff. So I do like him. Chase Claypool, probably that D tier. Again, this is another player who's had opportunity and definitely 100% has the ceiling to be a great wide receiver, but just hasn't done it. And now he's demoted again on the Bears offense, which is already not passing the ball a lot. So yeah, just throw him in that D tier right now. Unfortunately for good old Chase Claypool. Now, Devontae Adams. Oh, I've got to turn off probably my dynasty brain here. I've been going back and forth all morning what I want to do with this S tier. Okay, I've decided what I'm going to do with this S tier. Devontae Adams is A tier. Very, very, very good wide receiver. Fantastic wide receiver, just a little bit older. Raiders offense is going to be very interesting this year. We don't quite know. He will probably still see plenty of volume and still be very, very good and still put up wide receiver 1 numbers. But I think you and I both know that we've got to save this S tier for a couple special players that we might talk about later. This is Brandon Ayuk. Throw him in that B tier. Right there with DJ Moore, I think makes sense. Yeah, kind of like your wide receiver 2-ish range. Yeah, okay. I think it's kind of building out fair enough as we go on. I think this is starting to look okay. A.J. Brown, that's an easy A tier, of course, right? And, I think he might have his teammate in the A tier here shortly. I think this is A.J. Green, so G for green. Man, this is kind of tough. Some of these guys I not very good with their faces, and lots of different faces here for sure. But yeah, AJ Green, I don't think plays football anymore, so G tier. I really hope this is Amari Cooper. I think this is Amari Cooper. I'm treating him like Amari Cooper and putting him in the B tier. Browns offense, I do think that they're going to take a step forward this year and pass the ball a lot more, and Amari Cooper will probably be a big benefactor of that. Just not enough to bump him into that A tier. And there's some good wide receivers here in that B tier, keeping him company. Amon-Ra St. Brown, A tier. In fact, I'm really high on Amon-Ra St. Brown this year. I'll at least put him ahead of A.J. Brown. Definitely not ahead of Devontae Adams yet. But, especially for the first 6 weeks of the season, Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to see a ridiculous amount of volume, and he's going to do well with it. I love him this year, especially in full PPR formats. I think he honestly might be as high as just the third wide receiver I'd take, maybe fourth. I do feel good about Cooper Kupp. But yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown, plenty of volume, going to produce amazingly well. I really don't think I can be any higher on Amon-Ra St. Brown going into next year, and I do think he's definitely a value. I know he's being drafted high, but I still think he's a value. I do think he's going to outperform his ADP. Allen Robinson, I mean, you can't put him in the G tier, right? If that's where AJ Green is, he's at least kind of playing football, I believe. Maybe. Gosh, I don't remember what happened with Allen Robinson now that I'm thinking about it, but we'll put him in the F tier. We'll put him in that F tier. Rashad Bateman, we'll throw him in that B tier with all of these guys, probably behind DJ Moore, maybe ahead of Brandon Ayuk. Yeah, Rashad Bateman, wide receiver 1 on the Ravens. It's going to be a little bit murky this year, so we'll kind of have to see how that develops, but still great profile. Has been there longer with the Ravens, so he's just going to have a little bit more of that rapport. Yeah. Yes, Allen Robinson is on Pittsburgh. Thanks for that. Yeah, he's the new George Pickens mentor. Not expecting too much from him, but because of that reminder, I've at least probably got to throw him in the E tier with the Russell Gage, not quite the F tier. Tyler Boyd, this is a C tier. This is a C tier player. Tyler Boyd is a guy who's always slept on. Of course, he's the third fiddle, sometimes fourth fiddle in this Bengals offense, but he's still on the Bengals offense, which means he's going to have big games, and he has in the past. So Tyler Boyd is a guy that I usually like to take a chance on in the mid to late rounds of drafts, just because, like I said, attaching yourself to the Bengals offense is pretty much always worth it. And he'll be someone that can be started in a pinch. So Tyler Boyd is a guy I actually like a lot. He might be able to slide into that B tier. Screw it. I'm going to put him in that B tier for now. I'm going to put Tyler Boyd in the B tier. I think he's a little bit better than these guys in the C. He's a little bit better. Now, Jamar Chase, my man, wide receiver 1 for 2023. Player number 1 for 2023, likely. Of course, quarterbacks will probably score more points. But still, Jamar Chase is the guy I would take if I'm 101 on the clock, taking Jamar Chase in every single league, every single format. He is the guy going forward. And recently, we also put him number 1 in our dynasty rankings, believe it or not. He's finally overtaken Justin Jefferson. Jamar Chase, plain and simple, that guy, best wide receiver in the game. Love him a ton. S tier, easy. Brandon Cooks. I would like to put in the B tier, to be honest. I would, but I think I'm just going to have to put him near the top of the C tier just because he is still older. We don't know for sure what he's going to get in the Cowboys offense, but I think it's going to be a lot. I do think that he will have more than a few games next year for Dallas. I think he's a really nice value and a guy that's going to be able to kind of round out your wide receiver core on your fantasy football team, and a guy I'll probably end up having some exposure to. And at the top of the C tier, I don't think you can really complain. Maybe he probably could make an argument to be a B tier, but still, he didn't produce as well as we wanted him to last season. Granted, it was the Texans, but still, throw him in that C tier for now. We'll see as the list develops. I might want to take him out. This is Corey Davis, E tier, I guess. D tier. These bottom tiers are kind of weird. I don't know how I feel about him. I guess I'll put him in the D tier. He's going to have some random games, probably. He's still a good wide receiver. E tier. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Well, that's a tough one. The bottom tiers are tough. Deebo Samuel, that's a good old A tier wide receiver right there. Good guy, great guy. If he stays healthy, obviously he's probably one of the best football players in general out there in the NFL. Fantastic player, fantastic athlete. So put him there at the back of the A tier, and he'll probably continue to stick there. Devontae Smith is also an A tier wide receiver for me. I do think that the Eagles wide receiver room is more of a 1A, 1B than a wide receiver 1 and a wide receiver 2 situation. I do think Devontae Smith is undervalued. I think he's fantastic, and I do believe he'll continue to be fantastic and have probably a more consistent output than A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown does have the higher ceiling because of his profile, because of the athleticism he brings to the field. But Devontae Smith brings a level of consistency and great route running that he's going to be targeted enough to at least get you that nice 10 to 15 points per game range. And he's fantastic. He really, really is. Not many former Heisman wide receivers out there. In fact, I think he's the only one. So Devontae Smith, my dude, do love him. One of my guys. A tier for Devontae Smith. Stephon Diggs, you can also slot him into that A tier. Easily throw him into that A tier. Probably ahead of the Deebo Samuel. Probably behind A.J. Brown a little bit. But yeah, it's Stephon Diggs. We all know what we're getting out of him. Wide receiver 1 on the Bills. In fact, basically the wide receiver on the Bills. And great years. Fantastic player. Love Stephon Diggs. Easy A tier there. Deontay Johnson. I guess for history's sake, you've got to put him in the B tier. But I honestly want to. I'm going to go hot take here. I'm going to throw Deontay Johnson in the C tier. No, you've got to just put him in the B tier. You have to. Unfortunately, you've got to put Deontay Johnson in the B tier. I just don't like him a lot. I really don't. I do think he will take some of that touchdown regression positively, score some touchdowns next season after coming off of 0 touchdowns. And he still does see plenty of volume. And he's still, in my opinion, the wide receiver 2 on the Steelers. I do think George Pickens has surpassed him and is better. But still, that's plenty of volume and good enough to be a B tier. Good enough. This kind of makes me want to put, this is a tough. We'll see. We'll shake it up a little bit later. DK Metcalf. A tier. A tier for DK Metcalf. Of course, love the athleticism and love the ceiling. Dude's amazing. Dude's fantastic. Don't have to say too much more about DK Metcalf. The consistency problems are there. But I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm going to choose to ignore. Elijah Moore, just throw him in that. Ooh, that's Tyler Lockett. You don't deserve to be there, Tyler Lockett. All right. Elijah Moore, we'll throw in that D tier with the Claypools and Michael Thomases of the world. I don't really think he's going to make himself a role, but just because of what we've all kind of expected from him and love about Elijah Moore historically and everything, you've just got to put him in the D tier there and hope that he ends up finding what he's lost. But throw him in that D tier. Tyler Lockett. This is a guy that's definitely probably a B tier, right? I mean, it's Tyler Lockett. Yeah, I mean, he's going to get you some points, whether you like it or not. He's just one of those guys that just sticks around. Marquise Brown, we'll have to throw into the C tier, unfortunately. He does, of course, have a great ceiling and has shown consistency in the past. And if DeAndre Hopkins moves, he probably gets bumped up to a B tier. But for now, I'm going to keep him in the C tier. I do like Hollywood a lot, but, it's more of a I just like this player than I think he deserves to be in a whole tier above where he's actually at. So Marquise Brown, I'm keeping in the C tier range. My green screen just keeps falling right now. Let's see. Okay. I see you guys are not liking my Devontae Adams in the A tier. Gosh. It will not stand. My green screen will not stand, so I guess we're just going to have to move forward. Devontae Smith probably has a case to make the S tier. When I put him in there, I just kind of wanted to make a statement about Jamar Chase. We'll see how I end up rounding it out. If I do decide to throw Cooper Kupp in there, I'll move Devontae Adams up, and I think that is fair. It's just, I do think he's not quite as good as Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase. I feel like that they need to be separated. We'll figure it out. We'll figure this list out. Don't worry. I'm filling it out right now, and then I'll tinker. Jahan Dotson. Probably kind of near the top of the B tier. He showed some flashes last year, and I think he'll continue to show some flashes. And of course, the new offensive coordinator coming to town makes the offense a little better. So we'll go ahead and throw Jahan Dotson into that B tier. Jacoby Myers, C tier for Jacoby Myers. It is what it is. Good route runner and everything, but it's not like he's going to see a ton of volume. Justin Jefferson. See, yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. Well, okay. We'll move some things around, but still, Justin Jefferson, easy S tier. It's JJ, Justin Jefferson, Jay Jettas, that dude, that guy, one of the best wide receivers in the game, second best to Jamar Chase, and of course, easily S tier wide receiver, easily. Jerry Jeudy, throwing him in the B tier. I do like Jerry Jeudy. I really do. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I'm on the Jerry Jeudy train. I do think he's a lot better than people say. He's a really good route runner. He truly is. He's just struggled with some health, struggled with a dumpster fire offense last season, but I do think if they figure all things out, that Jerry Jeudy will finally hit the expectations that he was going to his rookie year, and the doubters will be proven wrong. I truly believe that. Juju Smith-Schuster, C tier. C tier for the Juju Smith-Schuster. I do think that he'll probably end up being the most targeted wide receiver on this Patriots offense. And I mean, I think that'll mean decent things. I don't know how high the ceiling's going to be, but he'll probably end up being a little bit more consistent than we're expecting him to be. Julio Jones, easy S tier. He's fantastic. Julio Jones, best wide receiver, one of the best of all time. So easy S tier for Julio Jones. Just kidding, though. I mean, he's not playing anymore. We'll throw him in the F tier just because he hasn't officially retired. He can have the F tier all to himself. Keenan Allen. I mean, honestly, you probably just got to put him in that A tier in kind of terms of things. I mean, he's going to get tons of volume, wide receiver 1 on the Chargers, and shown consistency even with the health concerns. So, yeah, Keenan Allen, I'm going to keep him in that A tier. Christian Kirk, I want to throw him in the B tier. I do think that he will get less volume this season. Just plain and simple. I do. So B tier. Cooper Kupp. Okay, fine, guys. You win. Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams can slide up to the S tier. You win. I can't, with good reason, put those guys in the A tier with some of the other guys. It's just, you've got to turn off the dynasty brain a little bit, and fine. Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams can move up to the S tier. It's fine. You guys win. I agree. It makes sense. It makes the most sense to do that. So my bad for taking so long to do that move. My bad. But there they are. Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams. Put them in that S tier. CeeDee Lamb. That means, of course, A tier for the CeeDee Lamb. Yes, I know. If I'm moving these guys up to the S, maybe I should put CeeDee Lamb, but no, I'm not doing it. CeeDee Lamb, A tier. He's just not quite an S tier player to me. I don't know what it is. It's just more of a gut feeling, I guess, that he just isn't quite the alpha that these other guys are. He is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. He's top of the A tier. He's great. But, I think that's just kind of where he's going to stay. I think he's just going to forever be right outside that range, just right outside of it. Drake London, we've got to put at the top of the B tier just because, the Falcons don't pass the ball enough for me to kind of consider him among the elite guys here in the A tier. Just plain and simple. B tier for Drake London. Isaiah McKenzie, I think we can probably slot into the C tier with some of these guys. Sorry, never mind. He's not really there anymore. Isaiah McKenzie, we're sliding down to the E tier. Yeah, the E tier. What is this D tier is so funny. Guys that just have ceilings. I feel like legally I have to move Michael Thomas up, just legally. But we'll kind of see what that turns into. We'll see. Just legally have to move him up. But yeah, Isaiah McKenzie, E tier. Mecole Hardman, we'll throw him in the D tier. I don't know, right? I mean, he kind of reminds me of the Chase Claypool, Elijah Moore range. That just looks right. This does look right. That looks like a tier of its own. Just not going to spend any more time on that. Mike Evans, would love to throw him into the A tier, but I just don't think you can. We're putting him in the B tier, and I think that's fair. Well, little B tier Mike Evans action. Yeah. Mike Williams, another B tier wide receiver. Can't put him in the A tier. He does have S tier ceiling even, but F tier floor. And that floor is hit more often than not. But because that ceiling is so high, because the Chargers offense is so awesome, I'll keep him in the B tier. Darnell Mooney, I'm throwing him in the C tier. DJ Moore has kind of taken the B tier role away from him. And he'll be the second fiddle in this offense, which is just not a ton of volume. Plain and simple, just not a ton of volume. So he's got to go into that C tier. Marcus Valdez-Scantling. What a weird tier here. I guess C tier, right? Back at the C tier. Might have to put him at the D tier. But yeah, we'll put him in the C tier for now. We might end up colliding this D and E tier. We might mix these guys up. We'll see. Yeah, let's move these guys down. Let's move these guys down. Yeah, this looks a little better. Okay. We could probably put Corey Davis in here. Okay, and then Marcus Valdez-Scantling, he'll start his own tier for now. Actually, I'll put Chark in there. Okay, this looks a little better. Okay, yeah. Marcus Valdez-Scantling, right? I mean, Chiefs wide receiver running the streaks. He's going to have games, plain and simple. DFS value pretty frequently. Yeah, there he goes. Starting his own tier. Look at that. Chris Olave. Oh, God. I really do want to put him in the A tier, but I don't think he's there yet. I don't know. Screw it. I'll put him in the A tier. It's a little close, but I'll put him in the A tier. I do think that he'll see tons of volume. If I'm low on Michael Thomas, I've just plain and simple got to be high on Chris Olave. Yeah, A tier for Chris Olave. Josh Palmer. Okay. Josh Palmer. This is not Josh Palmer. We're going to say that this Josh Palmer is Quentin Johnston because, like I said, he's not on this list. And I'm also going to start skipping around because we're already 20 minutes into this and not even halfway through. So Quentin Johnston, I'm going to put up in the B tier with Mike Williams just because, I mean, I do think he's going to have a pretty decent role. And it's the Chargers offense. They pass the ball plenty. It is what it is. So we'll throw him there. Don't know who this is. Sorry. George Pickens, B tier. I love George Pickens. Don't ever get me wrong on that. I love George Pickens. I think he'll be fantastic this year. At the very least, I've got to put him in a tier with Deontay Johnson. I'm putting him ahead of Deontay Johnson. I do think he'll see more volume. I think he'll see more touchdowns. I think he'll have more yards. I think he'll have more receptions. George Pickens is an alpha, plain and simple. He's a great value right now. If you see him slipping, which he has in drafts, I do think that you need to take a chance on him. I really do think that he'll outperform a lot of that stuff. Michael Pittman, we'll throw in the A tier. No, we'll kind of put him in the B tier with Mike. I think this is kind of good range right here for Michael Pittman. The Colts are going to be going through some growing pains, plain and simple, that he's just not going to be able to reach the ceiling, I don't think. But he is still a good wide receiver, still an alpha on his offense that you can't really get rid of him. Robert Woods will throw in this F tier. That's pretty easy. Hunter Renfrow we'll put in the C tier. I do love Hunter Renfrow. Slot God over there. Gonna do plenty. Sammy Watkins, G tier. Cortland Sutton, we got to put in the B tier, probably. Or, I'm going to throw him in the C tier. I don't like him as much as Jerry Jeudy. Sorry, guys. C tier for Cortland Sutton. C tier. Ooh, hot take. T. Higgins. Good old A tier. Of course, not the same tier as Jamar Chase, but still a fantastic fantasy football wide receiver. I'll throw T. Higgins in the A tier. Terry McLaurin. Believe that's a very solid B tier wide receiver right there. Very solid B tier wide receiver. Gonna get plenty of volume, plain and simple. And the Commanders offense, again, if I have Jahan Johnson in there, I've got to have McLaurin in there. And yeah, I am gonna move these guys kind of next to each other. The order doesn't matter within the tier, actually, for the most part. Adam Thielen, we'll throw in the D tier. I do think he'll probably have some games. I'm moving Michael Thomas back down, and maybe Gabriel Davis. Oof, tough. Yeah, no, it's great. I'll keep Gabe Davis and Michael Thomas up here. Adam Thielen, though, D tier. D tier, Adam Thielen. Kadarius Toney, I'm throwing in the C tier. I do like what he can bring, but of course we know the injury concerns with him that I can't, in good conscience, put him in the B tier. Just can't do it. But I do love Kadarius Toney. Don't get me wrong. Do love Kadarius Toney. Tyreek Hill, A tier. Probably S tier, actually. Yeah, S tier, Tyreek Hill. Can't debate that at all. Jalen Waddle, that's who will go in the A tier. I'm not as high on Jalen Waddle as most people. I will say that. But again, in good conscience, can't quite put him in the S tier or the B tier. He belongs in the A tier. He does. He's really good. Chris Godwin, I want to B tier him. I want to B tier Chris Godwin. I do think a lot of people are high on him next season, and I think it is for good reason. But I just don't think it's going to be good enough to quite be an A tier wide receiver. So I'll put Chris Godwin in that B tier. Curtis Samuel, we can put in this D tier probably. We'll see what happens with him. Probably nothing. Probably actually just move him down to E. Greg Dortch will throw in the E. Jarvis Landry will throw in the G. Robbie Anderson will throw in the F. Zay Jones will throw up here in the D tier. Alan Lazard will throw here in the D tier. Paris Campbell, E tier. Or, screw it, D tier. We'll D tier Paris Campbell. Donovan Peoples-Jones, we will C tier Donovan Peoples-Jones. I do think that he has the ceiling and the athleticism to be someone in this NFL. And like I said, I do believe the Browns offense will take a step forward. So C tier for the Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think this is Michael Gallup. Oh, I hope this is Michael Gallup. It is a Dallas Cowboys wide receiver. I think it's Michael Gallup. I'm going to put him in the D tier. Garrett Wilson, A tier wide receiver in the Garrett Wilson, of course. Pretty simple right there. Tons of volume going his way. This should be Sterling Shepard. Which means I'll throw him in the C tier. I think he's going to get more volume than we're expecting him to, guys. He just always does. When he plays, he gets volume. He just plays only 4 or 5 games a year. But because of that, we're going to put him in the C tier because when he's active, he probably will be a lot more surprising than we expect him to. Romeo Doubs, we've got to D tier him. He's just not good. He's just not good. Really, just not good. And we don't know what the Packers passing offense is going to look like. So yeah, we'll throw him there. Another D tier wide receiver. I think I want to put Richie James in the D tier. I do. Because I do think he'll probably, he's on the Chiefs offense, right? And if Marcus Valdes-Scantling's down here in the D tier, Richie James probably should too. He was honestly pretty clutch for the Giants last year. And if he brings a little bit of that to the Chiefs, he will see some form of consistency, really. Even if it is only like a 7-point game or whatever, there's D tier just makes sense. The question, what app are you using for the tier list? It is a website called tiermaker.com. Tiermaker.com. Treylon Burks, probably B tier, probably kind of back here in the B tier. If the Titans do end up slinging out Will Levis, I do think he'll be a little better. And he'll probably be fine with Ryan Tannehill too. So Treylon Burks, B tier. I do like him. Great athleticism, great ceiling, all of that stuff. See, we've got Robert Woods twice. I'll throw him back in there. Rondale Moore. I want to C tier Rondale Moore. I do like him. I do like his athletic profile, and I do think he'll command some targets and get some usage on the Cardinals. Yeah, Alec Pierce. Probably got to C tier him as well, unfortunately. Really great profile, a slept-on profile. And yeah, Alec Pierce, C tier. These guys I'm just kind of skipping now to really fill this thing out. DeAndre Hopkins, gotta A tier him just because he's DeAndre Hopkins, right? Gotta be A tier him. It's D-Hop. No, screw it. I'm gonna go crazy here. I'm top of the B tiering DeAndre Hopkins. I think I have been seeing him get drafted really, really high, but I'm honestly just not going to give it to him. If he stays on the Cardinals, it's going to be a really rough offense until Kyler Murray returns. And then if he goes to the Ravens, like kind of the big rumor is, it's not a lot of volume to go around. So I do think that, he's not going to be DeAndre Hopkins of old, at least from a fantasy football perspective. He'll still be there on the NFL field making crazy catches and everything, but I don't think he's going to be as fantasy relevant as we're expecting him to. So I'll B tier him. That might be a hot take there. Wan'Dale Robinson. We will C tier Wan'Dale Robinson. We'll see if that ends up biting me in the rear later, but Wan'Dale Robinson, C tier. Tyquan Thornton. I'll C tier him as well, kind of with the juju. I do think that Tyquan Thornton will get actually great usage in this offense. I really do. He plays a specific role, and Mac Jones can get it to him. And I mean, he had a 2-touchdown game last year. I see that happening again, more than likely next year, having a couple of those. And yeah, Tyquan Thornton, we'll C tier him. All right, here we go. My man, Christian Watson. Probably got to B tier him. If I'm B tiering Drake London, I've probably got to B tier Christian Watson. But of course, he has that A tier, even an S tier ceiling. So I'll actually kind of put him at the top of the, screw it. We're moving this. We're putting Christian Watson, Drake London, and D-Hop up here in the A tier. And I think this looks better. Okay. Yeah. There we go. Treylon Burks, I think we just talked about him. Chris Moore. Okay. Jackson Smith-Njigba. I'm B-tiering him, but I do think he's going to be fantastic. It's just we have to wait a little bit. We have to wait a little bit, unfortunately. But I'm B-tiering Jackson Smith-Njigba. And Jordan Addison, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to B-tier him. Great landing spot, all of that fun stuff. And then last but not least, Calvin Ridley. He's made this list. So let's go ahead and I'm going to put him near the top of the C tier. Yeah, I just don't know what we're going to get from him. So I can't be convicted and say that he's going to be B tier. I do think if he stays healthy the whole year and becomes himself, he's even an A tier wide receiver. But in the interest of being realistic here, I'm going to put him in the C tier. Probably going to have a few games shaking off the rust. And then also there's so many mouths to feed on this Jaguars offense that it's probably not going to be a consistent amount of volume. So top of the C tier, maybe bottom of the B tier at the end of the day, but I'm going to C tier him. I'm going to C tier him. Well, no, if I've got Christian Kirk in the B tier, I'll put Calvin Ridley back here too. Screw it. And these guys I'm just skipping because we're running out of time. But it looks like really no one crazy fantasy relevant. We already talked about Treylon Burks. So yeah, this is the tier list. I'll go ahead and scroll down real quick. S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, E tier, F tier, and G tier. And then unranked, which is probably just all G tier. Randall Cobb, screw it. We'll put Randall Cobb up here with these other guys that are just kind of hanging around for way too long. Any questions? Any questions? Does not appear so. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let me go ahead and stop sharing and get everything set up back to normal. And we'll get you out of here. We will get you out of here. Thanks for tuning in. This was another great episode of The Wake and Take. I hope to see you all tomorrow. We'll finish off this tier list series looking at the tight ends. So make sure you tune into that. You all have a fantastic, and I mean fantastic, Wednesday.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In Package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.